Hello students, welcome back to Unix programming class. Today we are going to see some file related commands. Let us start with cat command. This cat command is a versatile command, means it can be used in variety of ways. Okay, it can be used for displaying the contents of a file, concatenate the contents of a file. Concatenation means combining. So we have seen string cat, strcat, isn't it, in C programming. So there also we use this cat, so for concatenation short. So here also cat is, it stands for concatenation. Okay, so you can display the contents of the file using cat command. You can concatenate the contents of the file and display, and also you can use it for creation of the file, and also you can append the contents of a file. Append means at the end of the contents of the file you can add something. Okay, you can add something to the existing contents of the file at the end, that is appending. Okay, the syntax of usage of cat command goes like this: cat and file name on which you want to perform these operations. So file name or file names, that means multiple file names also you can take as arguments. Here in this place, multiple file names also you can take as arguments. Okay, so then this cat command options, it takes some options. So what are the options available with cat command are -v. -v is an option for displaying non-printing characters. Non-printing characters means slash and tab, etc. So those are non-printable characters, right? So those characters you can print with -v. And then -n is another option for displaying the line numbers of the file. For example, you want to see the line numbers of the file, then along with file contents it will display the line numbers of the file. Okay, then it can also be used for creating a file. We have already created files using cat command, right? This is the syntax: cat and the chevron symbol, greater than symbol, and the name of the file. Then if you press enter, it will give you space for typing the contents of the file. You type any number of lines in the file, and at the end when you want to stop storing the contents into the file, you need to press Ctrl D. Then it will take all those lines into that file and store. Okay, that is how you create the cat command, file using cat command. Okay, so then see what happens if cat command is used with multiple file names. What happens if you use cat command with multiple file names? It will concatenate the contents of the file names. That means it will merge the contents of the file name. Given here is F1 and F2. It will take these files F1 and F2 and their contents will be merged, means concatenated, and displayed. Okay, so we will check, we'll execute and check. Okay, so these are the different varieties in which you can use the cat command. Okay, so cat command is used for displaying, concatenating, creating, and appending the file contents. It has two options: -v for displaying non-printable characters, -n for displaying line numbers. You can also use cat command for creating a file using chevron symbol, and you can use cat command with multiple file names. When you use it, will concatenate the contents of those files and display on the screen. If you want, you can redirect it, the output of this, into a file, so that you can get multiple file contents in a single file. Okay, so that is the advantage of cat command. So let us execute these commands and check. Okay, let us create a file using cat command. Let us say cat, then chevron symbol or greater than symbol, then the name of the file. The name of the file, let us say sample. Now you can insert some contents into the file. Let us say hello, The next line, let us say good morning. And in the next line, have a great day. So these are the contents I am placing in cat command. Okay, these are the contents I am placing in cat command. Now to end the contents of the cat command, I will say Control D. So now all these contents what I have given here under sample will be stored. Okay. So now if you say cat sample, okay, now let us see whether it is created or not using ls. Sample file, it is created, right? So here the sample file is there, isn't it? So the sample file is created and the contents of the sample file are stored. Okay, so now let us say cat sample, it has to display the contents of the file sample, isn't it? So now it is displaying the contents of the file sample. Then let us use the options with the cat command. Let us say cat -v sample. So actually it has to display the non-printable characters, okay, the /n, /t, etc. But here /v is not working with Termux. Okay, so you can try in your laptops or systems if you have Linux or Ubuntu. Okay, -v is not working, but let us say -n cat -n sample. Now what is the -n option supposed to do? It should display the line numbers for the contents of the file, right? So it is displaying the line numbers for the contents of the file, isn't it? Hello, good morning, have a great day. 3 lines are there, so 3 line numbers it is displaying, right? So that is how the options of the cat command can be used. Okay, now let us check the cat command with multiple file arguments. Let us see what is there in a file called f6. So the date contents are there. We redirected it now for f6, so it is there. Now let us merge the contents of file sample and the contents of file f6. Concatenate. So sample and f6. So now you can see here I have given cat sample and f6. So this command is merging or concatenating the contents of first 3 lines are the contents of sample and the last line is the content of f6, right? So it has merged and displaying on the screen the contents of the file. So you can do one thing again. You can merge the contents and redirect it using greater than symbol. You can redirect it to another file. Let us say another file called test2. Now the contents, the concatenated contents of sample and f6 will be stored in test2. So let us see whether it has done the work or not. So cat test2, if you say, yes, the contents of the file sample and file f6 are merged and stored in a file called test2. Okay, this is how you can append also to the contents of the file, isn't it? So this is how you can make use of the cat command in variety of ways, as it is a versatile command. You can display the contents, concatenate the contents, append the contents of the file, and also you can use the cat command to create a file, right? Okay, next let us see the command cp for copying a file. Cp for copy. So this command cp copies a file or a group of files. Okay, so you can copy a single file to another file, or you can copy a group of files to a directory. Okay, let us see. Syntax goes like this: cp source file and the destination file. Okay, cp command takes two file names at least. One will be the source file name and the other one will be the destination file name. Okay, source contents will be copied to the destination file. Okay, so but you should be very careful that if mod1 file, see here chapter 1, see initially in Unix subject we used to have chapters, but now you have module scheme, right? So whatever the contents I have in chapter 1, I have to copy it to module 1. Okay, so now if module 1 file is not existing, then it will create, the copy command will create module 1 and then it will copy. Okay, but if already mod 1 is present in your system, then it will overwrite. So you should be very careful. First you should find out that mod 1 is present or not, then you should copy. Okay, otherwise if mod 1 is already existing, it will not ask you whether to overwrite or not, it will simply overwrite. That's why it is very dangerous. You will lose the original contents of mod 1. So you should first check whether mod 1 is existing or not, then you should copy. If it is already existing, it will overwrite. So you should choose some other file name. That is what here it says. If mod 1 already exists and have some contents, that will be overwritten. The destination can be a file or a directory. See here, this destination, here it is a file. Mod 1 is a file, but it can be a directory also. Then this chapter 1 will be stored to that directory. If you say chapter 1 directory 1, then chapter 1 file will be stored to directory 1. Okay. Then, so see here how it can be a directory. Now cp chapter 1 programs mod 1. So now what happens? The chapter 1 file is copied to programs. Under programs directory, it will create a file called mod 1 if it doesn't exist. Then store the contents of chapter 1 into the mod 1 file. But if it is already existing, it will overwrite. Okay, so you should be careful. You should first check. So what happens? It will contain it, the contents of file chapter 1 will be copied to a file called mod 1 under the directory programs. Okay. Likewise, you can use some path also to copy. It is not necessary that you should copy the contents of the file in your current directory only. You can copy it anywhere on some other directory also. Okay. Then here you can just give the name of the directory also. Here you have given name of the directory and file name, but in this case you have given only the file name, directory name. Then what happens? Chapter 1 will be copied to programs directory with the same name, chapter 1 only. Here chapter 1 contents will be copied to programs directory but with the name module 1. But here in the next example, chapter 1 will be copied to programs directory but with the same name, chapter 1 itself. File name will be chapter 1 itself. Okay. Okay, next let us see some examples. See how we can copy. See, copy you can use absolute path name or relative path name. So what kind of a path name we have used here? What kind of path name is this? This is a relative path name because it is written with respect to current directory and not the root directory. See here, the slash is not there before the programs. The path doesn't begin with a slash, so it is not with respect to root, hence it is not absolute path name, rather it is a relative path name because it is written with respect to current directory. Okay. So now this is the absolute path name because it is written with respect to root directory. See here it is starting with a slash, right? So what it will do, it will copy the contents which is present in home of Sharma. Okay, it will copy the contents of the file dot profile which is present in Sharma's home directory. Okay, so the Sharma's home directory, you have a file called dot profile which will be copied to my current directory. Okay, which will be copied to my current directory with the same file name dot profile. Okay, so dot profile will have some settings which will be activated for every session of the user, so that will be copied. Okay, so here what it does, the dot profile file which is present in home of Sharma user will be copied to my current directory. Okay, so that is what this copy command will do. Then let us see the next one. See what happens here. Same thing, the dot profile of Sharma's home which is present, dot profile file which is present in Sharma's home, where it will be copied, it will be copied to my, what this single dot represents, it represents the current directory, right? So this dot profile file will be copied to my current directory. See, both this command and this command both are the same. Okay, so you can write the commands in different varieties of ways. Okay, look at this example. We are saying chapter 1 copy chapter 1, chapter 2 and chapter 3 to programs. Okay, here we have three file names. See, multiple file names actually. We have multiple file names, right? In the previous cases, we had only two file names. One is the source, the other one is the destination, right? But here we have multiple file names. So what happens in case of multiple file names is the last argument what you are giving to CP should be a directory. Okay, the last argument what you are giving to CP should be a directory. Okay, it should be a directory. So what it will do, it will copy all these files, chapter 1, chapter 2 and chapter 3 files will be copied to a directory called programs. Okay, it will be copied to a directory called programs. So whenever you give multiple file names as arguments to CP, the final argument of the CP command should be a directory. You should remember that. Okay, so now all these files, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 will be copied to programs directory. Is that clear? So that is how you can use multiple contents with CP command. So, and file retains their names in programs. So when you copy these files to programs directory, they will be having same names in programs directory also. Copy means it will be there in my current directory also, and also they will be copied to programs directory. Okay, but they will be having same names in both the places. Okay, two copies will be present of chapter 1, chapter 2 and chapter 3, one in my current directory and the other in programs directory. Okay, and they will have the same names. If these files are already resident in programs, then what happens? If there are files with name chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 in directory programs, then what happens? It will be overwritten. So you should be careful. Okay, if they are not there, then the files will be created, but if they are already there, then it will be overwritten and the previous contents will be erased. Okay, will be deleted, overwritten. So you should be careful while copying. First you should check whether the files are existing, then only you should copy. Okay, so program directory must exist. Yes, isn't it? When you say that these files chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 should be copied to programs directory, the programs directory must also be there. It should be present, right? If programs directory itself is not present, then it will give you error. No directory found or exist. Okay. Programs directory should also be present. So next let us see another example. CP chap star programs. So what it will do? So what is this star? You might have studied about these meta characters in your ATC subject. Chap star. Star means anything. It can match anything. Okay. So what is the meaning of this is copy chap and star means anything followed by chap. Okay. All the files which starts with chap and followed by anything. All the file names which start with chap and followed by anything. See here. So we have no here chap 1, chap 2, chap 3. So all of them starts with chap followed by some other digit. So there can be chap 100, chap 120 also, right? Chap x, chap y also, isn't it? So any file which starts with chap and followed by anything, all those files should be copied to programs directory. If there may be other chapters, like there are chapters like chapter 6, there are chapters like chapter X, chapter Y, chapter Z. Okay. So those chapters may also be there. So any chapters which are present in your current directory which starts with chap and followed by anything will be copied to programs directory. Okay. So that is how that star works. Star means it matches anything. So now let us see the options of CP command. So the CP command works with an option -i, which stands for interactive copying. So what it will do, it warns the user before overwriting the destination file. Okay, it warns the user before overwriting the destination file. So that means in the previous cases we have seen that if there are already files with the same name, then it will overwrite the contents. But you can use this -i option to avoid that problem. Okay, to avoid that inconvenience, you can use -i option. So what it will do, it will warn you before overwriting. It will ask you, do you want to overwrite? There is already a file existing with this name. Do you want to overwrite? So then -i can be used for that purpose. Interactive copy. Interactive means it will be, the command is interactive with you. It is asking before it overwrites. Okay, that's why it is called as interactive. So now how to use this -i is CP -i chapter 1 module 1. So what it will do, it will, if module 1 is already existing in your current directory, then this -i will prompt you. It will ask you, do you want to overwrite? If you say yes, then only it will overwrite. If you say anything other than yes, then it will not overwrite. Okay, it will ask you like this. CP overwrite module 1. If module 1 is already existing, then it will ask overwrite module 1. Yes or no it will ask. If you say yes, you can say Y or you can say yes, both are same. So then it will accept it and will overwrite. If you say anything other than Y or yes, it is considered as no only. Even if you simply enter without entering any option, then also it is no only. Okay. Then copying, next option is copying directory structures with -r. We have seen this -r option with other commands also, right? This is for recursive copying here, recursive copying, to create a recursive action. It starts from your current directory and all the below subdirectories and files will be applicable. Okay, So it behaves recursively. It copies entire directory structure from your current directory. Whatever the following next level directories are there and their subdirectories are there, the files are there, everything for which it will be applicable. Okay, so how you can use it? cp minus r programs new programs. So what it will do? It will take all the files, all the subdirectories, and under subdirectories there may be subdirectories. All those will be copied recursively to another directory called new programs. Okay, recursive copying, everything, all the directories and files will be copied to new programs. Okay, let us say we have programs directory. Under programs directory we have a subdirectory S1 and a file F1, and under subdirectory S1 let us say we have two subdirectories S2 and S3. Under S2 we have file 1, and under S3 we have another subdirectory S4 and a file called, sorry, let us take this as 2 and F3. So this is the structure. Okay, we have under programs one subdirectory and one file. Under S1 let us say we have two subdirectories S3 and S2 and S3. Under S2 we have a file called F2, and under S3 we have another subdirectory called S2 and a file called F3. All these structures, the entire structure will be copied to new programs. Okay, this is the tree structure of programs directory. Everything will be copied to your new programs directory. Okay, so that is what recursive copying means. The entire directory structure itself will be copied. Is that clear? So that is how this copy command works. So these are the two options which you can use with copy command. -i for interactive copying and -r for copying the entire directory structure. Okay, so let us execute them and check. Okay, let us copy a file. Let us see cp. The recently created file only will take as sample, and we will copy it to some other file name. Let us say example. Okay, now the contents of sample file will be copied to another file called example. So let us check whether it is created or not. See, if it is already creating, it will be overwritten. So I am telling you again and again. Okay, so now should be careful. Here example file is created. Okay, let us check with the same command again. Let us say cp sample example only. Now what happens? Now it will overwrite. See, it is not asking you that some example is already present. Okay, so let us see what is there in file f1 and let us try to overwrite the contents. Okay, the contents of file f1 are this: hello, good morning. But sample we have one more line, have a nice day or great day, something we have given, right? So let us see what is the content of sample also. It has have a great day line also. So now we'll try to overwrite. So let us say copy sample and f1 only we took, right? Yes, f1. So say f1 cp sample f1. Okay, so it is asking cannot create regular file f1, permission is denied. So even though we have not given -i, it is giving you a caution that f1 is existing. So maybe in Termux it is an updated version, but you can check in Linux or Ubuntu. So it will, oh, but previous case we have not written, right? We have when we say sample and example, it took it. See, that is because we don't have permissions, right? Permission for F1. Okay, see here, permissions you can check. Here we don't have write permissions for F1. So that is why it is saying permission denied. Permissions are not there. But we can do vice versa. Okay, we can do vice versa. Or let us take some other file. Let us say cp sample. Let us take F5. So it will be copied. Now let us say cp F1 to F5. F5 is existing, right? It will simply copy. Okay, it will simply copy the contents of F1 file to F5 file without checking whether F5 is existing or not. Okay, so that's why you should be careful while doing that. Okay, now let us execute this cp with -i option. -i F1 F5. Now what happens? It will say, do you want to overwrite F5? Because F5 is already existing, right? It will ask you, do you want to overwrite? When you say no or any other character, if you say, it will not be overwritten. But if you say yes or y, then only it will be overwritten. Okay, you can check, you can execute and check this. Then let us say, uh, let us see what is there in programs directory. So we have only a directory called scripts. We don't have any other files. Okay, so let us copy the sample file to programs. Okay, so how to copy? Let us say cp sample to programs. Now what happens? It has copied. Let us say ls programs. See, now sample file also have come. Initially only scripts was there. Now sample also got added. Okay, with the same name it has copied. But if you say cp sample programs, under programs you want to give some other name for sample. Okay, you want to give some other name for sample. Let us say test. Okay, so now that sample file contents will be copied to programs by another name called test. See, sample file is copied but other name with other name called test. Okay, so when you say simply cp sample programs, sample will be copied to programs directory with the same name sample, but if you specify a particular name, then that name will be given for your file. Okay, so that is how it copies. Okay, then let us say what is there in program scripts. Okay, no files are there in program scripts. So let us change to program scripts. And let us try to create a file here. Now check where you are. Now we are in program scripts. Okay, now we are in program scripts. You can observe here. You are in program scripts. Okay, initially you were in home. So now when you create program scripts here, let us create a file. Let us say cat with a greater than symbol. Let us say the name of the file is xyz. Name of the file is xyz. Okay, so I will type some contents here. Unix file system commands execution with Termux. Okay, so this is my content of the file. So now to end the file contents, I will say Control D. Okay, so it has given me here the dollar prompt. Then let us see whether it is created or not. Cannot access program scripts, no such file or directory. Okay, we are already here only now inside the program script, so you cannot list it. So directly we can list. So XYZ file is created, right? XYZ file is created. So now let us go back to home. How to go back to home? Simply say CD. You will go back to home, right? So where we are? Now we are in home. We were in program scripts, but now we came back to home. Okay. So now let us copy the file which is present in programs/scripts, which is the file we created in programs/scripts. We created a file called XYZ, right? We created a file called XYZ. So under programs, under scripts, we created a file called XYZ. That file we want to copy to our current directory. Okay, that is dot. Current directory is represented by a single dot, right? So that file we want to copy it to our current directory. So I have given dot here. Let us see. So it has copied. So let us check. XYZ named file was not there in our current directory, right? Earlier we have listed, right? Here XYZ file name is not existing. So let us see whether XYZ is existing now. It is copied with ls. XYZ is here. Yes, XYZ is copied to your current directory. Okay, so that is how you can copy. But if you would like to copy XYZ file with some other name, okay, so then you can say CP program scripts XYZ. I want to store this XYZ with the file name. Let us say F100. Okay, F100. Now XYZ contents will be copied to F100 file. It will be copied to our current directory only, but with the name F100. If you simply say dot, the same file name will be retained. XYZ will only be retained. But if you give file name as F100, then the contents of XYZ will be copied to another file called F100. So now it is copied. Let us check whether it is copied or not. F100 is present. Yes, F100 is present here, right? It has copied. F100 is present here. So let us check both the contents are same or not. Cat XYZ is having this content. Similarly, cat F100 is also having the same contents. Did you understand? So that is how you can copy the file which is there in some other directory to your current directory with the same name or with some other name. Okay. Okay, now let us see how to use copy command with multiple options. Okay, so let us check what are all the files available. The files available, we have multiple files which are starting with F, right? F100, F2, F5, F55, F10, F6. So let us consider that only. Let us say F2, F5, F6. Copy F2, F5, F6 to your programs directory. okay, to programs directory. So first let us check whether in the programs directory anything is there of that name. Okay, so let us say ls programs. Only there are two files, sample and test, and one subdirectory scripts. Okay, so no f1, f2, f3, nothing is there. So let us copy. So what are the file names we took? F2, F5, F6, right? So let us say copy F2, F5 and F6 to programs directory. It has copied. Let us check whether it copied or not. Yes. So initially before copying we had only sample and test files and scripts subdirectory, but now F2, F5 and F6 are also copied. Okay, they are also copied to programs directory. So when you use cp command with multiple file names, the final argument here, this final argument should be a directory, so that all these files will be copied to that directory. So that is how you can use cp command with multiple arguments, right? Okay, then let us try copying different files with starting with same name. So like chapstar we copied, right? So let us check first. ls programs we will copy to scripts now, okay, because already programs have f2, f6, f5 and all. So let us copy to program scripts. So only xyz file is there under program scripts, right? So let us say cp f star. What is f star? All the files which are starting with f. The file name should start with f and maybe followed by anything. Okay, so how many files are there of that sort in our current directory? There are so many files, right? F1, F10, F2, F5, F55, F6, Fnew, isn't it? So those are all the files which are starting with F. Okay, so I am trying to copy all the files whose name is starting with F and followed by anything to a directory called programs, under that scripts. So now all those files F1, F2, F3, F5, F6, F55, F100, Fnew, everything should be copied to program scripts. Okay. So now everything is copied to program scripts. Let us check ls programs scripts, what is there, whether it is copied or not. Yes, all files which are starting with F are copied. Initially only XYZ file was there. Now all the files which are starting with F got copied to program scripts. Is that clear? So that is how you can use. See, this star is a meta character. Okay, star is a meta character. When you use, we have studied in the initial classes, right? When you use any meta character in the file name, the shell will interpret it, will bring it to a simpler form and then give it to the kernel for execution. Okay, so now shell will bring that star to all these file names f1, f10, f100, f2, f5, f55, f6, fnew. That will be converted to brought into simple form and then hand it over to the kernel for execution. Okay, let us try another option of cp. We tried -i, right? Let us try another option of cp command, that is -r for recursive copying. So now what do we have? Let us check what is there in the recursive structure of programs directory. So I am trying to display the recursive structure of programs directory. So what it has, see, I have given the command here, and it says under scripts directory, it has all the files F1, F10, F100, F2, F5, F55, F6, Fnew, XYZ, right? So here under programs it has F2, here you can see under programs it has F2, F5, F6 sample scripts test. Under program scripts it has here under program scripts it has F1, F10, F100, F2, F5, F55, F6, Fnew, XYZ. So this entire thing will be copied to another directory. Okay, so let us try to copy this entire structure of programs directory to our current directory with some name, let us say new programs. Okay, so how to copy? Say copy minus capital R for recursive copying. Copy recursively the programs directory to another directory called new programs. Do we have new programs in our current directory? Let us check. Here it is, our current directory, right? So do we have new programs? No, only we have new, but new programs is not there. So let us create this new programs. Copy recursively programs directory to new programs. That means entire program structure. So what we have under program structure, under programs we have files F2, F5, F6 sample test and a directory, subdirectory called scripts. Under scripts we have F1, F10, F100, F2, F5, F55, F6, Fnew and XYZ. So all those things will be copied. Okay. So simply say enter. Everything is recursively copied. Now let us see whether new programs is there. Yes, new programs directory is created. Initially it was not there. Now new programs directory is created. So let us see what is there. Recursively let us list new programs. See, new programs again have the same structure. So all the structure of programs directory is copied to new programs, right? So that is how you can use cp command with -r option for recursive copying. Okay, so that is about the copy command. Okay, that's all for today. We will see some other commands in the next class like wc, rm and mv. That's all for today. Have a good day. Bye bye.